1816, the year without a summer. The location, Boston, Massachusetts. The years, 1815, 1816. Where? At Robert B. Thomas's publishing office. What? The Farmer's Almanac. 1816, the year without a summer. But first, when one thinks of Boston, one thinks of Benjamin Franklin, the Boston Tea Party, Harvard University. Now you're going to think about the Farmer's Almanac. 1816, the year without a summer. Now, how could that be? Back in 1816, that's exactly what happened. The summer of 1816 was literally without a summer. In fact, no summer across much of the world. In July and August of 1816, there were crop failures, food shortages, rioting, looting, not just in America. Southern states still experienced the cold. This is not just another northern thing. As far south as Pennsylvania, lakes and rivers were frozen over during July and August of 1816. On July 4th, for instance, the high temperature in Savannah, Georgia, 46 degrees. What caused this tragically cold summer? There were a series of volcanic eruptions that occurred in 1815. In particular, the eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia. It is believed to be the largest eruption in the last 2,000 years. This Indonesian volcano ejected a tremendous cloud of ash and dust. This ash insulated the earth from the heat and light of the sun, resulting in a cooling effect. In fact, this cold lasted for a couple of years. Vermont, for an example, had a decrease of their population of upwards of 15,000 people. Now, the interesting part is the last 7 years, people actually moved to Vermont. Well, it's not all bad. Changes and inventions. Over these years, many headed west in search of better climate, westward expansion. The lack of oats to feed horses, another example, led to the German inventor Karl Drais to invent the predecessor of the bicycle. Due to this bad weather, Mary Shelley wrote the book Frankenstein. Art was transformed into vibrant and colorful masterpieces due to these amazing sunsets and sunrises, yellows, browns, blues. Legend has it, in the summer of 1816, Robert B. Thomas, founder and publisher of the Farmer's Almanac, inadvertently but correctly predicted snow for July. Today, with all the technology and science, weather can be forecasted nearly a year in advance, and with some accuracy. But back in 1700s, 1800s, weather could be forecasted for nearly a year in advance, according to the Farmer's Almanacs. A quote is, it would be safe to say that weather almanacs were indeed accurate, weather permitting. But did Robert B. Thomas predict snow for July 13th, 1816? Perhaps. He has definitely made it into the history books. Did it snow, hail, and sleet in the summer of 1816? Yes, that is a fact. But how could this happen? Robert B. Thomas, was he a genius, a psychic? While Robert was sick, some accounts say that an employee inserted the snow prediction as a placeholder for when he returned from his illness, or perhaps he did it as a joke. In any case, the almanac was printed. The company partially distributed these copies, perhaps 9,000 of them. But when Thomas was repeatedly called out for such a ridiculous forecast, he immediately went back and gathered as many books as he could, recalled them. Really? Snow in July? So Robert destroyed all the books, or at least most of them. They called them snow copies. Potentially, there's no snow copies left today. Robert did reprint the entire 1816 edition of his almanac and redistributed them. And of course, he used more conventional forecasts. But his fear was this was going to be the end of his 25-year-old run of being an almanac printer. When it really did snow in July, what did Robert B. Thomas say? I told you so. Anyways, he regained his fame. The Farmer's Almanack became, and still is, a trusted publication. Trusted so much, one can fast forward 125 years. A German spy who landed on Long Island in 1942 is an example. When he was apprehended, they found a current version of the Farmer's Almanack in his pocket. The Farmer's Almanack is still being published to this day, over 200 years after the year without a summer. 3 million copies are printed annually. It's amazingly still trusted, especially by farmers. Every time I find a copy of the 1816 book, Farmer's Almanack, I look to see if in July it predicted snow. July 13th and the days thereafter, I quote, "Now expect good hay weather. A storm is not far distant, or sultry with thunderstorms." So unfortunately, there's no copies of the book, The Legend, available anywhere today. At least it's not come forward. I have an original 1816 Farmer's Almanack.